today I'm going to show you how I use these Wonder Pins. These are by Clover and they're called Wonder Pins, and you can see that I'm using them on this hoop here. This is a collage hoop and I have different pieces adhered to my background fabric. This is a piece of vintage needlework that I picked up at a thrift shop and I'm adding to this piece, but it's slightly thicker than just a piece of cotton fabric. So when I ironed it on, it's kind of adhered to this, but not completely. And I'm going to be embroidering this, so that's not going to be a problem, but I do want it to stay on while I'm embroidering everything. So that is the problem, that it's kind of like lifting up, and I don't want it to like fray around the edges more because it's not secured down. So I wasn't sure how I was going to stitch this piece. This is a regular Wonder Clip and I use these all the time. They're from Clover also. But you can see like it wouldn't work for me to use this to adhere it to the fabric unless I took it out of the hoop. And I could do that, but it just wouldn't be easy to do with embroidery. So I could also just use a straight pin, which I have right here. And I could do that, but I worry about the straight pin, and this is like a delicate piece of needlework that it's old. I don't know how old it is. I don't know the story behind it, but I do know that I want to keep it as nice as possible. And I hate using straight pins for, I'm not a quilter, I'm a hand stitcher. So I don't use like straight pins for quilting or anything. But when I do use it, like I feel like if I were to put this in, it would kind of like ripple the needlework and it wouldn't lay as flat. So then I was like, well, maybe I'm just gonna like do my best and try and hold it on as I stitch. But then I found these Wonder Clips. Now or Wonder Pins. I had gotten these as just a little sample with my purchase at QuiltCon, and I haven't used them at all. I just put them in my jar of Wonder Clips and figured maybe I'll use it someday. I have a lot of Wonder Clips. I use them all the time. So when I went looking through my jar, I remembered I had these. And let me show you how easy they are on a project like this. So because these were a sample, I didn't have the packaging or anything, but I could go onto Clover's website and I saw that they're really useful in quilting because you can use them one-handed. So again, I don't do quilting, but I do little hand projects like this. So they're easy to open and close. And because there's this nice gap here, it's great for a thicker piece like this. So I can just delicately put it through my piece and without worrying that I'm going to harm the piece of embroidery, it just sits right there. It doesn't make any weird gaps. It stays really nicely on the fabric. I'll put another one in here. It's going right through the needlework very easily, and it doesn't look like it's you know, stretching it, or I'm not really worried about it, and it sits perfectly. So again, these are the Clover Wonder Pins, and I highly recommend them if you are working on an applique project with a thicker piece that doesn't stick to your project in the normal way that you would be appliquing your fabric pieces onto a project. So be sure to check back. I'll be sharing my progress of this project in my Instagram, and you can see how I'm going to add this piece of embroidery and embellish the rest of this hoop. Happy stitching!